my honest opinion is you need a setback. I would imagine it like a slingshot. Let's say you got a slingshot and you pull it back as far as you can. You're literally stretching every muscle possible, and the band's about to snap.
Well, I was talking about my setbacks, and then in the third one, I'm like, bitch, I can do everything that I want. No one is going to stop me. Boom.
That's the bitch we love.
But
you go through like the grieving process of like a setback. You've got the cat ears grieving process, right? Let's do it. A level of laughter, like when we're both collapsing, we're like, this is fucked. We're literally fucked. Like, we got nothing right now. We're fucked. But we just start laughing about it. And that's what I believe that we have to do in order to succeed.
And I'm not going to cry in this podcast.
She might cry.
No.
The reality was, when we first met, I was like, I didn't think I'd like you as much as I did. Like, obviously, you were absolutely beautiful.
It's a big revelation.
Shut up. No.
Why didn't you think that you would like me? Even though I didn't like the truth, I had in mind like, well, he was honest. Well, he didn't have to.
Right. I want to start today's podcast with, whoa, don't wait, do it, motherfuckers. And Chi, when you edit this, please make sure you can see this. Please make sure you can see this one. So shoot the wide angle.
Welcome to Don't Wait, Do It, episode
6.
Whoa. It has been fast, but not so fast.
Not so fast. The goal's still 21.
Yeah, of course.
Once we got 21,
we'll see what's next.
we're effectively in the top 1% of podcasts. Effectively. Officially.
Whoa.
Today's episode, we're going to be diving into, what was it? Couples, relationships, and setbacks within business, right?
Setbacks and success.
Within business or just in general?
Business, relationships,
Okay.
Yeah, like how does a setback affect someone that works together but also lives together? Because I'm sure that there's a lot of content creators, coaches, people that works together, say like in every, like whatever you want to choose, but that there are a couple and they're working together. How do you live a setback? Because when you live it alone...
Or are you saying in general?
Maximiliano, well, Hindle. Maximiliano, how do you live a setback? What's that for you? How do you feel mentally and body and everything?
It really depends on the situation. Really depends, because sometimes it's just like, Other times I get really frustrated, but at the end of the day, my last thing always goes back down to, whenever there's a setback, is, well, it's always going to turn out okay. It always has turned out okay. Yes, I've had awful things happen in my life, like really awful, but it's always turned out okay. So for me, it's just like, well, is what it is, but there's something always going to get better. And even though I'm not religious, you saw the video I was editing earlier, they always say, like, God's got a better plan for you, like, because God closed this door for you, another one's waiting to be opened. It's like, you've got to go open it, and if you can get through that door, then you're sorted. Like, my honest opinion is you need a setback, because then it propels you forward. The way that I always used to explain it when I was hypnotizing people, I would imagine it like a slingshot. If you want let's say you got a stone in your slingshot and you pull it back and you let go and it goes, and it just lands there. Let's say you got a slingshot and you pull it back as far as you can. You're literally stretching every muscle possible, and the band's about to snap, like literally to its breaking point. You let go, bang, take your eye out. But we don't want to take your eye out.
Yeah, that's not a very good example.
But
I love you.
But that really is, that's setbacks for me. It's part of life. It's part of everything. Like, setbacks create foundations. Like a tree. I was thinking about this today when I was on my walk. That you look at a tree, and I literally saw a little tree. Then I saw one of the big trees that's probably been there for 100 years. I don't know, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
I was like, think how big that trunk is and how deep the roots go, deep the foundations go, in order for that tree to gain success, to be able to stand up as tall as it can go. I was like, that's what I want to be one day, one of those big trees. But in order to do that, we need to set the foundations today.
How do you live a setback that you share with someone? For example, what's the difference on you living a setback by your own and now living a setback together?
I think that you actually do the same as me a lot of the time, where we just go, it is what it is. I think also sometimes, maybe wrong in saying this, please do correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes I would just be like, but it's not the end of the world. And you'd be like, oh, it is. And I'm just like, well, it's not. But then also you've said that to me.
Yeah, and then when I'm in crisis, you are the, like, conscious one, and vice versa.
I'd say that, would you agree that you have more crisis than me?
Sometimes. No, but also when you got a crisis, it's a strong crisis.
Yeah.
And also it's a crisis that you kept for a long time.
But it also, well, I want to go to your setbacks because I mean you've had multiple setbacks in your life.
Thank you, Maximiliano. I'm so thankful that
Bitch, your life was fucked. No, I'm joking, mate. I'm joking. But no, seriously, like you've experienced anyone watching, things that you wouldn't wish upon anyone. You don't have to obviously explain them, but things that you wouldn't wish upon anyone, things that you've experienced, that you've gone through. But at the end of the day, like, I see you as one of the strongest people. And that's another thing that I genuinely love about you is, like, for example, so many people can look great and be great people on the outside, but yet they've never experienced anything of difficulty. So it's like, what happens when difficulty actually occurs for them? Like, they lose their shit, like everything goes screwed up. Whereas I know that you've been through so much stuff, we've been through so much stuff together personally, that I know that something bad happening with us, like external of us, not between us, but like external of us, I know we can cope with it. But how do you deal with the setbacks when they are like super like difficult to deal with?
I think that I always go like, well, not always, but it's like a circle where I'm putting everything of me into something and growing, and then boom, something's happen, and I just have to have like 1 or 2 days one day to complain, 2 days to be sad and angry, and then in the third one, like literally I won't talk to anyone, I will feel bad, I will have migraine, like it's awful. I'm not saying that it's healthy, but that's like my process. And then boom, in the third one I'm like, in that day I'm like, I don't know what to do with my life, like nothing is working. Yeah.
So let's give you an indication on how Katia came into the room yesterday after I made her coffee and wrote a lovely note. Maximiliano, you realize that there's 2 people living here. You can't do this.
I didn't say that. No.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
The story, well, I was talking about my setbacks. And then in the third one, I'm like, bitch, I can do everything that I want. No one is going to stop me. Boom.
That's the bitch we love.
But I need to,
I love all
not that I need, but like, I'm in a, and then I'm like.
You go through like the grieving process of like a setback. You've got the Katia's grieving process. Right, let's do it. Step 1, something bad's just happened. What's the first thing that happens to you? So let's go through the Katia grieving process of a setback.
It depends. I could be very
thirsty?
sad.
Thirsty?
Very thirsty. I could be very sad or very angry. It depends on the situation.
Okay, so high emotion in a negative state. Is step 1.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, and I can stop thinking about it. I don't try to distract. Now I feel it, and I'm like, or I get angry, and I'm like, I don't want to see anyone today. And then the next one, I enter into a mode where I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Nothing is working. Like, I haven't done anything. And then always something happens. I don't bump. I bump into someone or something happens that reminds me, like, shut the fuck up and keep on. And that's what we were saying. And I think these days that we have, like, difficult things, I'm very grateful that when I'm collapsing, you're like, but everything's going to be okay. And when you're collapsing, I'm like, everything's going to be okay. So it's like a balance. And I think that we don't let the other one drown.
True. I think that's quite good.
But also we have moments together where we're like, I'm done with this.
But when we do that, we actually, I think it's more just like laughter. Like, don't get me wrong, it's actual stress. But I also think it's like a level of laughter, like when we're both collapsing, we're like, this is fucked. We're literally fucked. Like, we got nothing right now. We're fucked. But we just start laughing about it.
And then
So step 1 is go to a highly emotional negative state. Yeah. Step 2 is bump into something that reminds you.
No, step 2 is always being depressed the next day. Or feeling that I'm the worst, I'm a loser, that I haven't achieved anything in my life. I'm like, why do I dance? Why do I write? Why do I study? Why? I don't do anything good. Just for a second, and then boom, something happens.
Okay, so high emotional state, anger, sadness, something. Then you go to like then you go to like, well, when you say depressed, it's sort of like helplessness.
Yeah.
Like you feel helpless. You're like, I can't do anything. I suck. I'm the worst.
And then that's the moment where it's awful. But social media is not it's not a real tool, and you know that you could have like awful days, but then you scroll on social media and everyone is happy, successful, in love. And when the truth is that they are cheating each other, they are broke,
Mhm.
they are sad and posting while they're crying.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I have to say this, but I can't. I respect everyone can post whatever they want. I'm not saying anything about it, but I just can't with the post of personally. Sorry, I can't with the post of people that are like, I'm living anxiety, and they shoot themselves in different like scenes, like crying. And we were talking about that with Mets. And even with you, like when you're with anxiety or when you're that sad, you don't have time to put the camera and cry in front of the
No.
camera. Oh, I'm going to cry here.
Well, I experienced
Of
like
course not.
genuine
Like-
anxiety, and that was like I couldn't think of anything worse than letting people know I had anxiety.
I'm the same.
Like I literally couldn't think of anything worse. I remember, I think I said to you, I was in my house and I thought that something was gonna get me. I was like just freaking out. I kept looking out the window because I was freaking out. Don't know why. No one knew about that. No one in my house knew about that. There was 4 other adults in the Mum, Graham, Abby, and Cam in the house, and I'm like sitting there freaking out. And then I just like, right, I just got to breathe through it, meditate through it, got to do all this shit and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But yeah, like looking through social media when you're in days, in like awful days, is not helpful. And personally, it gives me anxiety because I start comparing myself with everyone and my life with everyone's when we shouldn't do that.
which is something
We
that we found
shouldn't
out
do
with the
that.
hypnosis. If anyone hasn't, if it's not out, if it's out yet, go and check out the hypnosis me and Katia did.
That was strong.
That was strong, bro.
Strong, bro.
Yeah, because, well, that's the difficult thing with social media, because also I notice when you go through your struggles, you always then post something motivational that you find.
But
So like it has a flip side as well.
yeah, because everything that I post on Instagram is for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reminder there for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, but a lot of people are like, oh, thanks for sharing. I'm like, no, you're welcome. I'm not saying that I'm the like someone with the most expertise in the world, but it's just something that I have to read or learn in that moment. It's like a reminder for me.
Mm-hmm,
And if it
mhm.
helps a lot of people, cool. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, you should, even though people in social media sees what we want them to see, a lot of times you can like kind of guess my mood because when I don't post anything, it's because I'm angry or I'm having awful days.
If you are
When I'm posting
needing
food,
motivation,
if I'm posting motivational things, it's because I need it, because I need to go out of a hole. So yeah, social media is not real.
no,
What you saw, what you
that's the
see in
thing.
social media is not real.
no.
No.
Well, that's the thing, like, because also we film ourselves. Well, let's give the right example of right now. Like, currently we're in a bit of a fucking situation.
Yeah.
Car's kind
Yeah.
of broken. Money went to zero after spending the deposit all on the wedding.
Literally, the day that we put the money for the deposit, 2
We
hours
stopped
after.
working with a client. Like, we decided to go a different direction. They wanted something slightly different, so it just didn't work, and we don't want to go down that route anymore. So things change, and rather than saying no, I'll do whatever, it's like no, we still need to stick to our North Star and still keep walking that way, and we're gonna get there. It's just like a
And
shitty
some
situation.
people might tell you or might tell us or whatever, when you take a decision, they're like, but why did you took that decision? It's very stupid. If you need money, yeah, we need money, and we're not being ungrateful and saying we don't need money, because we do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that taking those decisions is what separates you from the rest of the people,
Mhm.
because we don't stay in the comfort zone.
Well, that's the
It's
thing.
what I told you, like, I think that we should not like being there, because if we stay there, we're going to be comfortable and we're not going to have the urgency of
Well, that's
looking
it.
for something else.
That's it. Like, now we're working with Laura and Coral. Shout out those guys.
Woo!
They're helping us.
Sorry.
What are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
I'm very down now. Down.
Just, you're gonna have to come forward because of that camera.
There.
This is funny though. Like, before we go into the stuff about the business stuff, like,
Sorry.
we're just setting everything up. We did what we could, and that really is the whole idea of the Don't Wait Do It. Do you know what I mean? Like, we as a couple did what we could. We invested money that we got into this. Like, the genuine only thing that we've bought for ourselves
UK.
since being together was the UK and those shoes. That was it.
Yeah.
In over a year, Other than that, I've got a bit of grape in my mouth.
Yeah, because even in
It's like
UK,
gym,
as your
food.
mom said, also we got excited and we wanted to share it.
Ah, shit,
Not
we
this-
bought the phones, but they were for business.
Yeah, so it's
For
like
this.
it's okay. It's not easy. Of course,
Mm.
it's not easy. And I've been talking to a lot of people lately. We are on May of 2024. And a lot of people is having struggles with money. A lot of people is having like
100%.
weird things with relationships. I'm like, I don't know, bro.
Well, that's the thing, but that it was like I said, and I think I said to you the other day, and then you also resaid it back to me. I can't remember what you said it back to me for, but this is the point where most people quit.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe these are the seasons that like everyone gets knocked over. Like imagine it like bowling, like Skittles. Like you bowl the ball, the whole world is knocked over. Like who's getting back up themselves?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I believe that we have to do in order to succeed is just keep getting back up. And it's the time that you really fucking want to quit, which has happened however many times,
Yeah.
especially over the last few months.
Yeah.
Even when we want to quit, we just don't. We just don't. And I think that's what I'm very grateful for. That's one of the things I wrote that down on the gratitude list this morning, was I'm just grateful that even when I try to quit, I just can't quit because I just don't, like, I cut off from everything.
Mm-hmm.
I cut off everything. No, I wrote in the Instagram post I did. Like, I cut off from all my friends in the UK. Not all of them. Like, I'm still in contact with some of them, but I don't speak to them regularly. I left the place that I live in. I went to Playa. I then left Playa and we came here. Like, I cut off from that side of things. I cut off from the ability of, like, being in the UK in general. Like, I just do not want that.
Yeah.
And I generally believe that that is one of the driving forces for me personally, is like, I don't have another option. Like, when I say I don't have another option, it doesn't mean we can't redirect ourselves, even in regards to business. Like, when I was speaking to my mum, I was like, I don't really care. Whatever business that we are competent at doing that makes the most money, we are doing that.
Yeah.
That also we enjoy to a degree.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
like, we're not going to enjoy everything, but as long as we do enjoy it to some degree and we're competent enough to make a lot of money, then that for me is what we should be doing, because, like we said, the problems that we actually have can be solved with money.
Yeah, exactly. And now that you're saying that, it's just like an comparative or an analogy. Now that you're saying you keep going even though you don't know how,
Mhm.
you just have to keep going. Comparing it to a personal story, when you lose someone that you
Mm-hmm.
that it's like vital in your life, is I don't know even how to explain it.
It doesn't make sense, but you just
It
have to
doesn't
go.
make sense, and you really think that if you could think my worst nightmare came true, you know? And I'm not going to cry in this podcast, but
She might cry.
no. But when you're in that situation, there's no other option. It's not like literally there's no other option. The best, your people is not there anymore, and there's
Mhm.
nothing that you can do physically.
Mm.
Or in this life, there's nothing that you can do to take someone back.
Yeah.
And that's the moment where you're like, well, yeah, it was the worst moment of my life. And a lot of people that have lost, like, people that they love, family, mom, dad, grandparents, you just don't want to keep going, but there's no option. And yeah, it has been the worst moment of your life, but in the 5 seconds after, everyone is laughing again.
Mhm.
Life keeps happening,
Well, life will always keep happening.
and nothing will stop. Never.
Mhm.
So it's just a matter of saying, whoa. I think that for me, that's the biggest lesson, that I don't know how. I just keep going. Well, I'm
Mm.
here. So that's the comparative to when you have struggles. That's why I was telling you, like, yeah, we have problems, but we don't have a diagnosis of dying soon. And we are not losing a mom, a dad, something like that. And it's not making less our problems. But if you look at it in that perspective, it helps. Well, to me, it has helped, because
Like,
for
what's
me,
helped?
living those moments, those awful moments,
Right.
because I'm like, in my head, I'm just like, you survived that. Of course
you
that
can
is
survive the next
nothing.
one, of course.
You know?
I think a lot of people do that, and I think a lot of people, like, but that is just rationalizing. That's
Yeah.
just reframing and rationalizing something that, because emotions don't make any sense. They
No,
don't.
because it's so painful that you stop feeling, literally.
So the only thing you can do is rationalize it. Like, that's why I genuinely believe that I've come to terms with death completely. Of just like, I know you're going to say cancel, so I'll say it first. Cancel.
Thanks.
But if I died tomorrow, like,
Cancel,
I'd be
cancel.
like, that really fucking sucks, because I want to spend more time with you. I want to spend more time with my family. I want to achieve all the things that I want to achieve. I want to help a lot of people. Like, there's so many things that I haven't done yet that I really, really, really want to do. And I know that's going to take time. So I would just be frustrated more than anything. I'd be up in heaven like, you fucking motherfucker. I'd be like, right, who have I got to speak to? Who have I got to speak to? Tell me back down. I've got shit to do. But no, like, I'd be really frustrated versus like being like, oh, I didn't do what I wanted to do in life. Because like, I did. I always do what I want to do. Like, don't get me wrong, like, it's not like everything's just been a walk in the park, but I've always really tried to do what I wanted to do. And even this period of time that we're in right now, where we're just pretty much doing nothing but just working, apart from the last week, we've had a nice little few days off, half few days off, not really.
When we didn't remember.
I think today was my most day off, but we're still doing this. But yeah, like, I'm just like,
you have to keep going. You have to keep going, and you have to make this life worth, and you have to, of course, always aspire for something more, because you can always get more. Always. Siempre se puede más. That's my quote. Like, you can always get more. You can always more. But sometimes it's difficult, and it's also valid to say, I'm done with life today, in a good way.
What did you say to me the other day? You literally said something like that. You were like, I like that you can allow yourself to be in the frustrated mood rather than just pretending that you're okay. It was something like that.
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
I just think that is one time I told you that, for example, for me, even when I'm not depressed, but sad or angry or whatever, and I try to avoid it, it's worse. So
without a doubt.
So I'm like, okay, you want to feel like this? Feel it, do it, everything, but don't avoid those moments, because we're human. Like, we have to live that to also. It's like your mom said one time, you have to experience grief to realize how big the love is.
Exactly.
And will always be.
Exactly. But that's how I deal with setbacks. Like, I'm like, well, if we didn't experience, like, literally having nothing, having to pay people, having to pay rent, having to pay our bills, having to pay the wedding, having to pay all these things, like, if we didn't experience that, would you really truly experience and feel how grateful we can feel for the abundance that when we have that?
No, and it sucks.
What do you mean it sucks?
I don't like the idea that we need to go through pain to.
But also, I don't think that's just us. I think that is everyone.
No. In general,
okay.
Like, for humans, for everyone, I don't understand why can we, or a lot of people might do, but why most of the people, we can just be super grateful for what we have, and you don't appreciate how healthy you are until you are sick and you feel awful for 3 days.
True. It's like when you get a blocked nose and you can't breathe and you're like, and then you're like, I just wish I could breathe again. I'm so grateful for when I can breathe. And then 2 days later you can breathe and you forget about it.
And you forget about it. I've been in the hospital 3 times or 4 times because I almost choked. My throat went like that because I had asthma when I was whatever things. And only those times that I was in the hospital, I was like, oh my God, I wish I could breathe. I could give one, like, deep breath without feeling this. And then...
Let's take a deep breath in.
Oh, that's amazing. A lot of people doesn't have that.
Yeah.
And when I didn't have that, it was like, I can't believe how stupid we are about complaining everything. And the thing that we do it every day, we are not grateful for. What?
No, I'm laughing at that. I'm just looking at this.
What? So, yeah, like, I hope we got to a moment where we can be just super, super grateful without having to experience the negative part.
But, well, yes and no. Because, we were talking about kids going to private schools.
Yeah.
And... No. So just hear me out. So, or let's not say private schools. Let's say kids that experience a very fortunate upbringing. Where they've got 2 great parents that are very conscious. Like, they're not, like, so leftist that they're, like, just, like, crazy. You know what I mean? But they're conscious parents that are, like, if you fall over, get back up.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, make sure you
are okay.
learn how to do something.
Oh.
You want to cry? Don't hold it in, cry.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like stuff like that, where they've got a very fortunate upbringing. They don't necessarily have to have millions, but they have money that they never have to have the conversation about, how can we feed the kids this week? Like, people that have that have a very fortunate upbringing.
Yeah.
They don't experience that anything quote unquote negative. But I do believe that you need to allow your kids to experience some form of negative. And that means falling over, cutting your knee, and realizing that if you run into a wall, you're going to hurt yourself. Like, silly things like that. You'd be silly to not allow a kid to do that, I personally think.
Yeah.
And those kids, I think, need a different level of that, where it's like you have to kind of force it on them in bits.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like ruin their life, but at the same time, it's like do it in a way that makes them realize that life isn't sunshine and rainbows.
Exactly.
Because
you are not going to value anything.
I can't remember who I said to you I was watching the other day. I was watching a podcast and a guy was literally saying exactly that. He said, sometimes I want to put my kids in, like, my kids are currently in private school.
The guy of the video blogging.
Casey Neistat, that was it. He said sometimes he wants to put his kids in public school because he left home at 15, started selling drugs, and he's now Casey Neistat, one of the first ever vloggers that is multi-millionaire, has a bunch of companies, like super successful. Parents of his friends were always like, he's a waster, he's never going to do anything with his life. Turned out to be probably the most successful out of anyone in his town.
Of course.
So he was saying that if I put my kids in public school, maybe they'll experience the things that I experienced that made me into who I am today. But then I thought about it and I was like, but they don't need to.
Because they've got other experience, I think.
And like he said, he was talking about his daughter wanting to make videos.
Open YouTube,
and he goes, well, if you want to make videos for likes, no. Mm-hmm. If you want to make videos because you want to
be
video yourself playing the guitar or something like that, or video yourself even playing with toys or doing toy reviews, whatever, just because you genuinely enjoy it, then go ahead. And it's like,
for validation, no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's, again, I believe, a conscious parent, that most people would look on the outside and go, yeah, they're lucky because he's rich. It's like, no, he's very intelligent. That's why he's rich.
Be, because if not, they would be ruined or broken or
what, the
something.
kids?
No, the parents, if they were not that conscious.
True.
Because I can also assure that he wasn't always like that. Of course, he said about his story and everything, but now I think that is a part of evolution too, because if we just want our kids to live the same things that we lived, where's the
where is
evolution?
Very true.
So it's like, we're going to have like thingies that you have to experience, but now here, because I helped you to move a little line more, you know?
It's kind of like giving them a head start in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you should be ashamed of having a head start in life. If you've got it, use it.
Yeah.
If you don't,
be intelligent about it.
But also, it's like, if you have a head start here, there was a great video I watched years ago, and there was a bunch of kids at school, and there was like a motivational speaker or whatever, but they were out on the field and they were all running a race, and they said, right, before we start this race, what I want everyone to do is take one step forward if both of your parents are together. A bunch of people take a step forward. There's obviously people that don't have parents together. Okay, now take a step forward if you go on vacations once a year. They take one more step forward. And then you actively in real time see the difference between the kids that have more of a privilege in the same school as the kids that don't.
Yeah.
And you see a direct comparison. It's like, of course, this kid here, no matter how fast, no matter if this is Usain Bolt, no matter if this is Emmanuel, Coach Powell, my man, no matter if it's him, like, if I'm here, even though I'm 10 times slower than him, I would still beat him because the finish line is here. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, the finish line, I'm so close to the finish line.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you do have that step up. But then if you're back here, the way that I see it whenever we go through setbacks is we have a great story to tell. Like, once we've got, like, the reality is people start to follow you when you've got something for them to follow you about, whether that's money, fame, whatever. Once we fully really reach a milestone, a huge milestone, they're going to check back on all these things. Yeah. And they're going to watch this and hopefully, I don't know, even our kids, grandkids, grandkids, all that stuff watching this and going, oh, look, this was 26-year-old and 33-year-old Kathy. I was going to say 32. Like, this was how they started. That's so
Yeah.
cool, and that's what I love about video.
And realize that everything has a process. No one start on day one being
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Beast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Never.
Well, even Mr. Beast didn't start day one being Mr. Beast.
Exactly, and that's how it is. And also everything is a circle. Like today, someone can be in the top. Tomorrow is going to be new, and that's
Mhm.
every day.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
there's a space for everyone to grow. It just depends how much do you want it.
Okay. How do you? Because in a relationship, I think if one of you's growing and one of you isn't, eventually that relationship's probably going to end
Yeah.
because you just become completely different people.
Yeah.
Like you've noticed that you've grown so much in so many areas that some
people
conversation
is
you're just like
weird.
that doesn't make, like, why would you talk about that? That doesn't make any sense. And
Yeah.
it's like you didn't notice it until you get out of it.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that we're growing together personally, in your opinion?
I think that is keeping each other real, like
Countable.
because we spend a lot of time together, so not in a bad way. I'm not complaining, but we spend a lot of time together. So I don't know. It's just I think that we just pull each other into the same things.
Mhm.
For example, if you are like, I don't know, if you see that I'm eating awful, you are going to tell me, and I might get angry, but I'm like, okay.
Mhm.
And if you are, I don't know, sometimes that I tell you like, stand up, you have to stop working, or not stop working. I'm like, just stand up and breathe, or something like that. We hold each other accountable, and I don't know. I just feel that we are in the same page, but I also that you have to check that since the beginning.
True.
Because
and that's just knowing someone's goal, I would say.
Yeah, and if since the beginning you are in a very different channel, and I can imagine that happened with other girls in other cases. It happened to me with other boys in other cases where I was like, no, we're literally in opposite extremes. So no. So this is not going to work. But I don't know how we managed to work perfectly since the beginning.
I think we do. But I think that's it. Because if you actually think about it, like, the reality was when we first met, I was like, I didn't think I'd like you as much as I did. Like, obviously, you were absolutely beautiful.
This is a big revelation.
Shut up. No,
Why didn't you think that you would like me?
just because of things you were into.
Clubs, party.
Like, I was just like, that couldn't be further from the opposite of what I would like. Like, night, literally, I'm day, you are night. It literally, I couldn't have thought of anything different. But then I fell in love with you, and we figured it out. But like those little things, go on.
But for example, you realized that before meeting in person, or once we met?
No, before meeting in person.
Why?
Because
of
like
the conversation.
That's always would always be my clear intention. Is like, who is this person before I meet them? Sort of found out a bit about you, and I was like, I'm open to see where it goes. After 5 times.
FBI, they call you?
The FBI,
So now you were
I was vetting my bitch. No, I'm joking.
Of course that I had Maximiliano under investigation too. Of course. Reference, friends. Oh, Mateo!
Yeah, you had cross references, Mets, Mateo.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, you were saying about that you thought that I was a complete opposite before we met.
Completely lost the point.
And then you realize that we solve it and we start like changing details to fit each other's life.
That was
I
it.
think.
That's what I was going to say. I genuinely believe peer pressure in a positive way is very beneficial.
Okay.
Because, for example, you used to eat pretty shit, didn't you?
More or less.
No,
not also. No, I've known people that eat worse than me.
No, I know.
The thing is
I
used to eat a lot of snacks and
yeah. But like, for
candies
example, you now struggle to even finish a whole Coke. Like, you don't really drink Coke.
I can't.
And like, I genuinely believe that's peer pressure. Like I thought about this. I found it funny. Like when you had a Hershey's bar, and I had grapes. that just explains us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you want your Hershey's bar?
No.
Do you want a grape?
No, thank you.
You sure?
Yeah, I was telling you yesterday that I asked for a Carta Blanca, a little one.
What's that?
The beer.
Oh yeah.
And I give it like 2 sips, and I was like, I even told Carla, I can't finish this. It literally didn't pass in my body. I don't know why.
But that's it. Like, that's where I genuinely believe. Like, some people talk about, bullying's a good thing. I don't think bullying's a good thing. But I think bullying does shape people.
It's being honest instead of bullying. I don't agree with bullying shape people.
I think it does. Some people, not everyone. Because, like, I had been, I wouldn't say bullied, but I'd say picked on, that made me become so in myself.
Yeah, but that's different, babe. Because, for example, I don't feel, even though you can tell me something very direct, it doesn't feel like bullying because you are not trying to hurt.
I think so when people say, like, the bullying thing, I think they just misuse their words. I think their version of bullying is that.
Yeah.
It's like being direct. It's like...
I don't agree that that's bullying.
Like, for example, like, why are you eating so much shit?
Yeah.
Like, you're just being direct. Reality is, you could be horrible.
Yeah.
And be like I'd say, okay, let's separate it to them. Great butt.
Ew. Maximiliano farts and burps every day.
Okay, it still farts like a trucker. I'm going to say this on every fucking podcast episode because you're awful.
Maximiliano.
Yeah, huh?
People.
Yeah.
People.
Look at her demeanour change straight away as soon as she talks about that.
No. He spins and farts.
Yes, I do. So do you.
Oh my gosh. Maximiliano, I can't with you.
Mm-hmm.
On the wedding day, you will hear me.
Give a speech.
Okay.
I'm going to put a microphone to your ass.
How expensive is a wedding? But that will be another topic. We have to do that topic in the next podcast, please.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
Write it down.
Yes, sir.
Por favor.
Sometimes he gets that attitude. Babe, okay, focus. So we were talking about...
Off topic.
Bullying.
That was it.
That sometimes people misuse the concept.
So you can separate the two. Bullying is like making fun of someone and without the, like, for them as the joke. So you make fun of the individual to make them the joke.
Yeah.
Versus saying, I think you're overweight, I think you need to change that. That's being direct, and that's actually, in my opinion, that's real love.
Yeah, but, well, you see what happened with the video that we post about what would you do if I was fat.
Right.
We are not insulting anyone. We are not being mean to each other. It's a reality. Sorry, but you are not going to tell me that I have to let you get like that because I love you. That's not love. Of course that's not love. And I'm not saying that disgusts me and I don't want to. No, I'm not saying that. It's like, why did you get into that point? I know. I'm seeing the comments. You can get sick. You can, of course that I know that.
But also, if you look after yourself, you're not going to get sick.
Exactly.
Here's a concept that more people should promote.
So it's like people. We started with Mets. We should put a picture of Mets here so you can know her, because we
if you don't have a
mentioned
picture
her.
of Mets,
I'll send you a picture of Mets. We were talking with Mets, like, we always ask for honesty.
It's just going to be a random picture of Mets on the screen.
Our Mets. With her crush. Oh, we could put that picture, babe.
That's horrible. That's bullying.
I love you, bitch. No, but we've said with her, a lot of people ask for honesty, but when we get it, we get angry.
That was my whole thing from the start with us. Like, you can't say I was not completely honest from the start and you hated it.
Shut up.
But you did.
Now it's my fault.
I'm not saying it's your fault, but you can't say that I wasn't honest. No, because people...
comments.
No, because people say they want someone honest until they actually get someone honest.
No, yeah, and to be
Do you know
fair...
what I mean? Right, I'm not trying to start an argument. I'm just saying, like...
to be fair, I'm not, like, how we say in Mexico, no le estoy echando flores. Like, I'm not giving you, like...
The flowers. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt.
No. It's like, I'm not trying to justify you or give you qualities. Yes. No le estoy echando flores, pero... How amazing would be if I make this thing in Spanish. Pero algo que me llamó la atención fue que, aunque me dijo una verdad que dolió, me quedó registrado en la mente que eras honesto. Entonces eso para mí fue un punto. That...
Exactly. I was thinking exactly the same. But
What
you
did you
explain it. No,
understand?
you explain it.
That even though I didn't like the truth,
Uh-huh.
I had in mind like, well, he was honest when
Uh-huh.
he didn't have to.
Right. And that's the thing that, I mean, this kind of works for setbacks in relationships as well.
We had a huge setback now that
We did.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've had quite a few setbacks.
But that was that almost boom everything.
But at the same time, and I hate to use this because I'm just like, I don't want it to be like that. But without these negative things that have happened between us over the last year, or however long, without those things, I don't think we would have the understanding of each other that we do. Like, even for example, the little things that we've had those arguments where I would write you those notes on post-it notes and then I just didn't do it for a while. Not that I don't love you any less. I just didn't do it for a while. I didn't even think about it. I don't think we even had post-it notes. But now I pretty much do it every day because I know how much it means to you.
Te amo mucho.
Te amo mucho, little chicken.
I'm going to show you, I'm going to send you videos, some pictures of that. Because sometimes I wake up and Maximiliano puts
Post-it notes.
Post-it notes in the floor. And that's cool. Those are details that just that show me that he just wants to keep growing and that we're together. I think that but comparing it now in a business. For example, of course that we try not to, but stress of work sometimes mess with our relationship. Well, not mess, but makes us angry. And I have to tell you that Maximiliano, one time that we were angry, he told me, "Stop ruining my life." And I was like, oh! And I got very offended.
And then you said, and then like later after that, you came up to me and you were like, "Just tell me honestly, am I ruining your life?" it was like a music video. Are you ruining my life?
And Maximiliano was.
No,
I was
you were just
angry.
angry.
I'm not going to get angry with you because I can't. No, I can, but you're a nightmare sometimes, babe.
But at the same time, there's no need to actually like I think the last 3 times that there could have been an argument, there wasn't because of what we both did, and also I think
what did we do?
Just different things. I couldn't give you the exact pinpoint, but like for example, like genuinely, I've been meditating so much more each day. I've been doing breath work most days. I've been walking every day, listening to a meditation audio book, like working out more. People need to do that shit.
And
seriously.
Also, for example, again, if you're having, that's what I was going to say. If sometimes those stresses in work affects your relationship, so how do we manage to use those setbacks as an introspection and say, okay, there's something that we're not doing right. So what? And we go back to the center and we try to like understand each other, and then we work together to go out. It's not that you just go out and I'm left or vice versa.
Yeah, and also I think that is needed for us to both do that and grow individually,
of course,
which allows us to grow together. Because for example, like imagine all the times that we've argued. Imagine every time like I just got more and more and more stubborn and I was just being an arsehole and I was just being horrible and you were doing all the things right. Why would you want to be with me?
Yeah, no.
Realistically. Like I remember I had this conversation with a friend years ago with one of his ex-girlfriends, and he was like, I was like...
And the name is... No, don't say it.
No.
I was joking.
I could do. He's got a new girlfriend. He's super happy. But,
okay.
I love him. But I remember this was years ago. This was like 7 years ago. And I remember sitting in a sauna with him. We were at the gym, and he said he was just saying all this stuff that was going on. And I was like, honestly, do everything that you can do. Once you've done everything that you can do, if she's not doing anything, then you deserve something better because you're doing everything in your power to be better, and she's not. So why would you just sit there and take that? And he was just like, yeah. They ended up breaking up, and now he's super happy, and he's one of the most changed people you would ever meet in your life. You knew him when I first met him. He was just a nightmare, absolute nightmare, and now he's just like genuinely one of the nicest guys.
Now that you're talking about couples, for example, how do you think that a couple can cultivate being resilient together?
I think, but that's the caveat to it, I suppose, is to be resilient as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
You have to experience difficulties together.
Yeah.
Usually you have to like clash, because like I've said to you before, in past relationships with me, there was no energy, so I was just like,
non-electric bitches.
literally, yeah, you're fucking, they're like they're a tiny spark from a cooker, and you're the whole fence of like a horse pen.
Fire.
Literally. And without that, like sometimes I'm like, please just shut the fuck up.
Me?
Yes.
Why?
Because you piss me off.
Why?
But at the same time, like, I like that, but I also think sometimes it can be directed in a better way. Same goes for me, but I do think it can be directed in a better way. But at the same time, I like that you have that, because you've got character, you've got personality, and like it's that thing of like, I know without a doubt one of our kids is gonna have the fucking bitchiness of you. Probably
the
be
three.
the girl. I don't know.
Or the 4. I don't know.
But okay, so
Babe, no, but talking about this, Maximiliano was sick, and if I thought that I was a stubborn person, Maximiliano was born
stubborn.
Stubborn.
As hell. Literally.
How?
Okay, when we say sick, I've been shitting myself for a week.
For 10 days, 11
10 days, I couldn't eat. It
Nothing.
would go straight through me, so I started fasting. That didn't work. Then I tried eating like a lot of like stodgy carbs. That didn't work. That made it worse.
Yeah, ginger shots.
Ginger shot, everything. I tried everything because I don't like medicine at all.
And it's just those moments where you're like, okay, I'm not saying go and take all the medicines in the world, but
Because I won't.
But if you're seeing that he's bad and that you're not improving, I got to a point where I cried because I was worried about him, but he couldn't accept anything. And I got to a point where I was just overwhelmed because I was like, I can't, you are,
So
I
stubborn.
couldn't believe that someone was as stubborn as me, but you are worst.
But at the same time, that is stubborn because it's something that's moral for me.
No,
I
know
do
it.
not like the pharmaceuticals
I get
at
it.
all. 000. I do not like. There's a difficulty. I do believe that if you have no option left, why not try it? Why not try it? But that's what most people don't do. Is they don't try everything else naturally.
No, they go straight to that.
They go straight to that. So that's where I'm like, that can help because it has helped people. I'm not saying it doesn't. I don't like the fact of how much money they make from it. Whereas I'm just like, well, if you genuinely were a completely healthy person, I don't just mean food. Now, food is obviously a huge part of it. But I also mean, what's your sleep like? Do you meditate? Do you exercise? How are your relationships? What's your work like?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel internally? As well as, what do you eat? If you've got all of that, you won't get sick. You won't. Now, don't get me wrong. We are super stressed right now.
Yeah.
There's so much stressing us out. And like I said, the reality is it's a money stress.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I thought about. Like, when it comes to actually stressing about money so much, something else could happen that is negative, but we've still also got this stress to worry about.
Yeah.
If you solve this stress, even if this thing that does happen, may not happen, but let's say it does happen, at least you don't have this stress to think about as well as that. You don't have too many things. So it's like, that's why we need to solve this one, and we need to make a shit ton of money, and we're going to do it because we're going to offer a service that is solving problems.
And for example, talking about it, I don't know, comparing it to health, I've been into scenarios where I've went to a public hospital and see the way and the quality of attention that they give to people is sad. It's horrible
because they're a number, because they don't get paid.
Because people is literally dying with awful pains, especially people of cancer. That was like the area that I was because of my mom, and seeing the way that they treat patients, like come, like they are dying. They are dying, you know, and we use it because she earned it because of how many years she worked and everything as a teacher. But then when you have the possibility of having them on a private medical attention, you see the difference.
And that comes
Even
down to the whole thing again.
with my best friend, it happens. She had an emergency, and they put her straight to a public service in Mexico City. The type of attention wasn't good. She had things that she has to fix after a surgery, but that's in that moment that saved her life.
So that's the thing again. It's not that it doesn't save your life, but it's just like, again, if you've got, and this is why I always wanted to have a partner that we could build an empire together. Whereas I see a lot of guys, they're like, damn my chicken. I want to build an empire with someone because I don't want to be that typical 1960s household where it's like the mum stays at home and I work and get all the money. And it's like, but
I couldn't be that one.
But also, yes, I could do that and I'd be happy doing that. Well,
not me.
I'd be okay doing that. I wouldn't necessarily say happy.
Yeah.
But I would rather be building something together with someone that I know 110% has my back. You've seen it today with people that are just stupid in business. And they, like, if you can't trust your business partner, they could steal from you. Like for example, not
in a bad way. Sometimes they just can be stupid and
no, of course. Like there's multiple. There's
things.
multiple. I'll go from that. Yeah. Some people don't know how to manage money.
Yeah.
On the other side, like on my dad's side of the family, don't speak to them, but my granddad, he had a business partner that screwed him over massively, stole millions. Like he used to be very wealthy, stole millions, and the last money he had, he spent on a private investigator. They never found the guy. So he went from, I mean, they still had, well, I haven't spoken to them in years, but they still had a nice house when I last saw them 8 years ago. And I'm assuming they're still there. But if he would have had a better business partner, things would be different. Yeah. But again, things happen the way they happen, and you've got to be grateful for what's here because you're still alive. But that's why, again, if you can build an empire with the person that you love, you've always got someone you can trust.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you don't go outside of the family to find talent, and that doesn't mean you also can't find business partners outside the family, because there's people that I trust way more than people in my own family, and same with you.
Same, yeah.
So
karma exists.
It does, and that's why I just really think about it like that, and I'm just like, that's all we talk about at the moment, which is like not a negative. Not all we talk about is a lie, because we talk about loads of stuff. We talk about growth with us too, like spending time together and all those things.
Beautiful
that, like,
houses.
But like they're the goal.
Yeah.
But the reality is, to get the goal, we need a vehicle.
Yeah.
It's like the way I literally see it is like a destination on a sat nav on your phone on Google Maps. Your destination's here. You're currently here. The destination is to have a business that provides a great service that impacts a lot of people, helps a lot of people, and helps a lot of people make a lot of money. We just need the right vehicle. I don't care if maybe it's a bike, maybe it's a Lamborghini, maybe it's a train, maybe it's a bus, maybe it's a plane, maybe it's a yacht. I don't know, but we just need the right vehicle to get to here. And when and we're just testing vehicles. We're just in the showroom right now. We're just testing vehicles from left to right, and eventually we're gonna find it, just because of that. I think it's that, like, the tenacity to just be like, I'm gonna keep going. Like you can. I'll wait outside your dealership until you're open in the morning. I'm coming back to test another car.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, is that tenacity of just like, fuck, I just want to help this guy find the right car, because he's just like doesn't shut up. Do you know what I mean? He wants the right one.
First week, because we don't have an option, and second, because we want to, and we want to do, and we are doing everything that we need to. Well, we're on that road. So something has to happen. Yes or yes?
Just what's the word? Just odds. Like playing roulette, for example. If you put, I don't know, if you put your money on red or black, you've got 50-50 odds. If you put your money on every individual number, you've still got odds.
Yeah.
Obviously the house is rigged against you, but like just a game of odds, just a game of risk. If you do something enough times, eventually you're gonna get some sort of result. Like, it was how I learned how to whistle like this. The way I learned that, was just a matter of odds. I just did it so many times.
That it has to come
I
out.
was and juggling. How I learned to juggle and do that. I was working with my dad years ago, like when I was like 16, 17, and literally like 10 years ago. Wow. And I was in the van. And we were driving back, and I was just going, and I was just getting out of breath, and I just went. So I did it, and I was so excited, but it took me, God knows how long, so many hours.
Yeah, of course.
And just see it like that, like that was the outcome, and now I can now do it for life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you can do something and you can just suffer the
It's a
the
mental.
dizziness.
It's a mental.
I was just completely dizzy that whole time, and then I got it, and now I can always do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't practice it. I just learn, and then it made sense, and I did it a bit more, and now it just makes sense. And I feel like that's the direction that we're aiming to go with specifically in business.
Yeah, especially because also we are using things that we've been working on for years. It's not that we just woke up and said, oh, this today. You can also do that, of course.
Yeah.
But we are doing things where we have expertise on. I've been dancing for, I think that this year is 19 years,
Wow.
18 years. So I didn't start yesterday.
Of course.
You've been doing content for how long? 8 years, 9 years?
Probably, yeah.
So again, it's not just randomly. I went to a university, I studied what I studied, so it wasn't just like randomly. We have like a profile that can always move and increase and add new skills, but we are going in the direction that we know.
Yeah, but that is just skill stacking. It's just like, I've got this. Like, if you can get leads, you can sell, you can like build offers, and you can deliver a service, then they're 4 separate skills that can make you a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
So with all the skills that you've got, what do you think you're missing? Like, let's have a real brainstorm here to get these millions. What do you feel like you're personally missing that will benefit the business to generate more revenue?
I think that I need to have more like a business mentality, and
what does that mean to you, though?
stop being scared of charging more. Stop being scared of using the contacts that I have because I don't want to bother people. And act because I have a lot of amazing ideas, but again I start doubting. If you want to watch the hypnosis about believe in yourself, is everything related to. So I think that in this moment it's just like create believe in myself and do it. Just do it as it comes to my mind. Don't wait, do it. Exactly. And just utilizing everything that I have in a business way.
Okay. How could you define that as a skill? Because let's say like you literally need this skill. Like, what do you need that's going to directly correlate to making more money, do you think, out of what you just said?
It's because that's the thing. I think that I have the skills of public relationships. I think that I have the skills of talking and managing people. I have the skills of solving problems that hasn't even happened. I'm thinking already like, okay, if this happens, I'm going to solve this.
Right.
So I propose, like, it's just a matter of doing it.
Okay.
And just doing it. That's it. And in this moment of our lives and our business, I think that in the first second that we know which is the sense that we want to take, that we're solving it now, is just go all on that. For our agency, for the motion, I know the way, but I need to be more specific to do it.
I think it's specificity, because, for example, like when I think of that, and this is just the way I think about it, is like when I think of like the skill, I'm like, what can directly correlate to making more money? So, for example, I'm like, when I was doing hypnosis, I learned how to build offers. And like, I'm no genius, but I learned that. Then Hormozzi's book came out, and I started learning from his stuff, and then I started building the offers, and then we started building this offer, and then I'm working with Laura to build it even more. Like, even though I understand how an offer works, like, I still want to learn from someone who's doing 7 figures. Do you know what I mean? And like, or 8 figures, I'm not sure how much she's doing. But like that's where I'm like, okay, so that's a skill, is like building the offers, because then if you have the right offer and you know how to charge, because I remember that whole thing of like, I remember when I first said $1,000 for my first sale. I was literally like, I was on the call and I got to the end of the call and it was for hypnosis, and I went, and this is about $1,000. Is that okay with you? Can you afford that? Is that something that you can do right now? Like, do you want to do it in payment? And I just kept talking and I kept like getting nervous. I didn't know what to do. And when I talk to a lot of people talking about sales, they go, that's $15,000.
Yeah.
And then they just stop, and then they say the first one to talk loses in sales. So if like I just go, it's $15,000. Obviously you're here, but like, and
I'm not going to lose the game.
But I've been on the other side where someone said that, and I'm like, and they don't say anything. And I'm like, can that be done in a payment plan? So I'm already set. Like now I've sold to them, and all they have to go is yeah.
And when they say yes, like, wow, it's amazing. That's amazing. It feels amazing.
So, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I've sold tens of thousands. I've probably in my lifetime sold around, I don't know, maybe about 100,000 online. Maybe. I'm really not sure. I couldn't give you the exact metric. I'll have to look it up. But I've gone from charging. I remember the first thing I ever sold online was $5, and I gave $2 to charity. Yeah, that's how worried I was that I couldn't charge anything. I had to give money to charity to make it worth it for them to buy $5. To justify $5, I donated just about half to charity to justify the reason of why they should pay it. That makes no sense.
Yeah, but that's how we learn.
Of course.
That's how big salespeople start. Mm-hmm. And for example, if I did the same question that you made me, so in your case is creating offers. In my case is because my skill is more with people. Maybe the thing that I have to perfect is my English. And no, is selling to people. Well, I've done it and I don't like it, but maybe changing the way that I approach people.
But I just thought about this. Every business has a CEO. Every business, like actual business, has a CEO, a COO, a CFO, CMO. CEO is obviously the chief executive officer, that is like usually the visionary, the crazy one. Elon Musk, for example. I want to take a rocket to Mars. Everyone else goes, all right, Elon, chill the fuck out. We make cars right now. Do you know what I mean? Or before that, we had PayPal. Do you know what I mean? Like completely unrealistic things at the time. But then there's a COO, which Alex and Layla, like Layla's she's like an operator, the person that like operates inside the business. And I don't know if she's a CEO or COO of the company. I really don't know. But they play to each other's strengths. Alex is he's a full-blown salesman that he can sell anything to anyone. And it's like, for example, why would, let's say you teamed up with Alex or Mosey, just you two, why would you bother trying to sell if he's already got that? From like a skill of like, why would I waste, like, and not that you shouldn't, but like, for example, by the sounds of it and you saying all that, I'm like, you can just operate very well.
But I don't like that part. I can do it, but I don't like it.
Right. What do you want to do?
I like to be in contact with people. I like to do new relationships. I like to be more like, I like more public things because, and I don't feel that I'm being like cocky.
Yeah, but no, but
like,
that's who you
I'm
are.
good in the operational part. I don't enjoy it and I don't like it, but I know that when it has to be done, I do it.
Right. Also, that's not being cocky. It's just a reality. Yeah. You're good. Full stop. I mean, you are good. Believe in yourself, bitch. No, but te amo. But that's where, like, when I think about that, sales was the worst thing for me ever. Hated it. I still don't really like it, if I'm honest. I can do it, I just don't like it. And I want to get to the point where we have people doing the sales, but you've got to do it. One of us has to do it. If it's both of us doing it, if it's just me, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. But there's ways that we can also do that, and it's like even from setting the appointment to getting onto the sales call.
Of course.
Like that's the whole thing, and that's actually what I'm going through right now to set up the scripts. That, like, if you wanted to learn the sales, the best thing would do is do the discovery calls, which is literally you follow a script to say, you set the appointment to go like, are you qualified to even be sold to?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To even be the potential of working with us, we need to see if we can actually do what you're asking for. Let me qualify you first. It's like, for example, people, like, you wouldn't just go to someone, right, I want you to dance at this showcase if you've never seen them dance.
Yeah.
You need to know if they're qualified to do it.
Yeah, and also, I think that it depends in the thing or the project that you're doing, because, for example, in the motion, again, I like to be the one in touch with artists, with dancers, with choreographers, all the creative thing, but I don't like to operate anything in the motion. That's
When you say operate, what do you mean?
I don't want to do all the documents, all the media, all the everything that has to be done in order to make, for example, a workshop. I don't want to do anything of that. I want to. Well, in the motion, I'm the one of the ideas of the creative part.
But I also think you operate it. You don't realize that you operate it in regards to you operate the people to do the things.
I manage it. Yeah. But that's because I didn't have anyone else to do it. It's because I start alone and I have to do it alone. So yeah, like, yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, you are actually good at.
Yeah, I know that I'm good, and it's not that I hate it, but it's not my hit.
Because also, I'm actually curious to know, like, I'd be curious to know, I'm going to search it up. I'm very curious to know, like, what actually is...
I'm very hot.
Operations in business. Because, like, I'm just like...
Morelia is burning, by the way. We're like 34, 35 degrees. It's crazy. It's 9:52 and we are boiling.
Okay, so, what is the meaning of operation in business? So... Business operations are the collections of routine tasks, processes, and a business performs to generate revenue. Efficient operations makes the most of a company's resources, reducing costs associated with day-to-day activities and increasing the company's output. And an example is, I suppose product management. So actually, I am a bit better at operations than I thought. I thought it was something different. I thought it was mainly like dealing with people was mainly the operations thing.
No.
But also, okay, so because you love to deal with people.
It's easy for me.
Right.
Sometimes I hate it, but I like it.
Okay, so someone who is watching this, what the hell was that?
What?
Oh, it was that, I think. I thought you farted.
I'm not you.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Chiquitancito.
What did I just say? Your fart.
Operating people, managing people.
No, so within business, I completely.
You were saying like, what would it take for, or what do you need to manage people or something like that?
That's it. For someone who's watching this. Doesn't know how to manage people, doesn't want to learn. No, sorry, they want to learn, but they don't know how to. How do you do it very well?
I think that it also has to do with character, because I'm a little bit bossy sometimes.
Sometimes, all the time. You were 12 bossing a group of kids.
Well, literally, no.
Shout out Betty for making that happen.
Yeah, and also in my school, I remember choreographing when I was on 3rd grade. I was like 9, and everyone was listening to me and doing what I said. How? I don't know. But that I'm not saying that someone with a different character can't do it, because I think that it's a skill.
Well, I'm a good example. I never used to have any character to do stuff like that.
So it's just a matter of experience, a matter of responsibilities, because, for example, in the Morelia Film Festival, Margarita, my boss, Margarita, I love you, she didn't ask. She met me and she was like, okay, this is what you need to do. I'm like, whoa, this is my first festival. I don't have experience in this, but in those moments, you don't have an option.
Well, but take this as an example. I literally had a job. I was doing marketing in this job.
And it's okay.
No, go ahead.
No, and it was like, and also you are not dealing with people like yeah, of course, they're normal people, but we are dealing with talent that can be like very like, so you have to be careful how
they're
to
literally
talk
like,
to them.
I only eat the green Skittles sort of shit.
Uh-huh,
And you're like,
because
"Eat Skittles."
you are the face of a complete festival or a
Mhm.
complete business organization, so
Mhm.
you have to deal with that. And of
Right.
course, that I have moments. I have an actress that was like, I don't want a square table, I want a round one. I'm like, I'm not giving interviews until they change it. I'm like, oh my god. But what can you do? Nothing. Look pretty, say I'll solve it, and solve it. There's nothing that you can
I
do.
will never be like that. I don't care how rich, how famous I am. I will never be like. I'll be like, it's a square table.
And
it's a square table.
that's when you know and you say, oh my god, with people. But that
Yeah.
also gives you a lot of experience on how to react in these moments, because you can
Uh-huh.
cry. I remember that after the first one, I think
You
I
just
was
go,
so stressed that then I arrived to my family to have dinner and I just cried.
Oh my
Because
God,
I
can
was
imagine.
afraid. I was afraid. You don't know what is going to happen. It's a big person. It's a big talent. So those responsibilities have like give me more experience
Strength?
and confidence and strength
Okay.
to lead people. Because I've always since I remember, I was leading people.
Interesting. Because I remember hearing a quote when I first did network marketing. There was a quote from Richard Branson, the owner of all the Virgin. He owns like 500 companies, multi-billionaire. You know Richard Branson?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not personally, but
Yeah, I went for tacos with him.
went to Necker Island. And there was a quote that he said, and he's like, "Say yes and figure out a way." And I've always loved that.
That's crazy, but yeah.
But also, like, because I used to be the type, I was like, well, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. Like you have to either show me or I can't do it. Whereas now, like, I'll just go, like, I had this job in marketing, I remember. And the reason I got hired was because of my construction skills, not my marketing skills, because I had zero marketing skills. But because I had construction skills, he needed to finish the building in the whole place, because it was turning into like an Ayurvedic spa. And bearing in mind, the guy was an arsehole, but he had an Ayurvedic spa.
Okay.
Like, he just knew how to make money.
Okay, yeah.
He knew how to make money. And I remember getting the job. I remember going to the interview, and I'm all wearing like a suit and all looking good or whatever, and looking all pretty. And he basically said to me, he's like, "Oh, the reason you got the job is because of your construction experience." Now, bearing in mind my construction experience, I had a bunch of construction jobs, but one of them was working with my mum and dad, and my mum just wrote on my CV that I was a site manager.
Oh my god.
And he goes, "Oh, because you were a site manager." And I was like, yeah, no, I was. I really was. And he goes, "Perfect. So you can get all of this building work done." And I was like, And in those moments, like, I was very shy as a person in that time. And he's like, "Oh, can you, like, call people and find out how much it's going to cost to put a steel across here?" I was like, I know how to do all the measurements, but I don't know how to call the person to ask. And that freaked me out in that moment, because I was like, what do I say? How do I... hello? I need to get a steel. Like, freaking out. Got that done. Managed to do all of it. Then I started doing the marketing. And he goes, "Oh, do you know how to run Facebook ads?" And I was like, "Yeah." Nope. I didn't have a clue. And I started running ads, didn't know how to collect any data, I didn't know what to do. Like, got a load of leads, but I didn't know what to do with them. Didn't know how to call them. Like, didn't do any of it right. But then me and Ben set up the social media marketing agency, and we started to learn ads a little bit. I don't really know, because it was so long ago, and I'm sure they've changed, but
it's just like those moments that push you to do it, because I also had also another boss in the agency, in the thingies, espectaculares, and he always used to say yes, and we're like, how is he saying yes? But everything came out always. One time that I was telling Alvaro something about a prayer, and I was like, well, I don't know. He was like, well, that answer is very sad. I'm like, well, first of all, my brother is very direct. And sometimes his answers or his things are like, whoa. They can be a little bit, they can be a little bit strong. But at the end of the time, he always gets me angry, but after I'm like, he was right. And in that moment, he was like, well, that's a sad answer, because instead of saying, I don't know, but I will learn and I will add more skills, you are just limiting yourself to say, I don't know. And we're like, okay.
But that, I think, is a very valid statement.
Yeah.
Because it's how this whole business started. The whole business started because I had a conversation with Catherine. She wanted videos done. And I was like, yeah, we do that. That was how the whole business started. By complete accident. And for me, I was just like, it was just because, like, don't get me wrong, I had a competency to do the thing that was needed. But also I didn't know how to fulfill everything that was asked for. So it was like, we're here because of that one conversation and that one answer, which was, yeah, we can do that.
And also it's funny, but for example, imagine that I was a vet instead of something of media.
Vet?
A veterinary. Like, because that's the thing, we get like similar skills. It's not that I'm a literally veterinary, a dog, a pet animal.
I know what a vet is.
Well, a veterinario. And we wouldn't like,
I don't know, might be able to make an offer to help sheep.
Maybe, but
get your sheep a 6-pack.
Or goats.
It'll go to 6-pack.
But yeah, like the thing is that we managed to just everything just work, and that's when we make like click, and this is how we are having success, setbacks, and life is like that.
But also it literally is like a. I remember I wrote this concept once when I was.
This is long, I think, babe.
What? We're about an hour and 15.
Oh, okay.
I wrote this concept once. We'll end soon. But I wrote this concept. I was at the beach and I was meditating or whatever, and I was like, this makes total sense. I drew it. I've got it in one of my books somewhere. I think it's here. I believe it's here somewhere. The grey book, I believe. And I drew it, and it was like, you go up, then you have a slight setback, but then when you get back, you go even higher than last time. You have a setback this time, but this setback is actually the height of the original height. The highest of the original is your low here. So your setback in 10 years' time is going, for example, oh shit, we got to fire this person because they're doing the wrong thing, versus we can't pay our staff. Do you know what I mean? The setback is completely different. Even though it's staff related, the setback is different because you've solved how to pay the staff consistently and generate revenue and profit. Therefore, you can do that.
And because you just keep moving on, so it's never going to be the same problems.
Exactly.
We are going to always have new, I don't want to say problems, but like new things to solve, new things to learn from, new challenge. Yeah, always, because you're moving. So.
But it also depends on what you want. Like, I've thought about this quite a lot. Like, being in Playa, you don't have a car, so you don't ever have car problems. Do you know what I mean? That's one problem eliminated.
Yeah.
We have a car here because it's your car. It was Betty's car, but it's your car. Therefore, there's no payments on it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you then finance a car, not only have you got car problems, you've also got car financing problems. And it doesn't necessarily mean problem as in like, oh, this is a problem. It's like, this is just something that needs to be solved. We're just going to use the word problem for the hypothetical. But every new thing that you begin to add to your life actually has the potential for more problems.
Is even our relationship. This could be happening, and this happened to us when we were single, having problems, having money problems.
Yeah.
And we were alone solving it, but now it's happening in a different step.
A different
step,
different context.
Now in a relationship where it involves money problems, but also relationship problems, but also living together problems that are not problems again, are circumstance, but are things that you have to solve because you are adding and adding and adding.
So that's that whole thing of like, well, the reality is I use the word problem. I don't see problem as a negative thing, because to me every problem has a solution. That's the way I generally believe everything. So like when I say the word problem, I don't really see it as like, oh, it's a bad thing. Interesting. Why?
Because for me, saying problems, it just puts like a negative thing in my head.
Right. Because that's the thing for me. I'm just like, oh, it's a problem. But when I say there's a problem, there's a solution to every problem.
And it's okay. It's just different perspective.
But for example, if you actually remove shit from your life, like, so if you can build anything that you build, what's on it? A bit of dust.
Of something.
A boogie?
No.
If the more things you remove from your life, so if you want to run a business, how thin can you run a business effectively? Like how, like we were talking about, what are your profit margins? Are they 10%? Are they 90%? If they're 90%, then
choose your struggle.
Literally, it's like either way, you have to find profit. Are you going to find it in a business model that has 10% margins, 20% margins, 50% margins, and 80% margins, and in some cases, genuinely 90% margins? Usually, online business has 70 to 90% margins anyway. Like, it just doesn't make sense for me why people don't try to live in the less possible, because like genuinely, you take all the difficult things away. Like, for example, I need to get a Lamborghini. No, I want to have the money to be able to afford a Lamborghini. But that doesn't mean I'm going to buy one, because you do come across problems when you have a Lamborghini, because they are not used for daily driving. Therefore, the batteries break, the tyres are break. Like, you need to buy new tyres, and tyres on a Lamborghini cost probably $10,000 for all 4 tyres. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're crazy prices. That doesn't mean I don't want one, because I do. But the more minimal you can live in everything, as many things as possible, the less problems you will have. That's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that for some people also that could mean playing safe and not wanting to take challenge and not wanting to take risk. And I don't know, I'm just like there's people that is like, I don't want to be a millionaire, I'm good with this amount of money and I want to live here. And for some people that could be like very mediocre. For others it's just being happy.
Well, so this is where it is actually a truth. There's many like millionaire CEOs that talk about this. They're like, I've got a buddy who earns $70,000 a year and is probably one of the happiest people I've ever met in my life. And it's like, that's a decent amount of income. But the difference is, when you start getting below that, that's when people say, I don't want to be a millionaire. It's like, well, are you stupid?
Yeah.
Like not saying you have to be a millionaire, but at least learn to get your money right. Yeah. Because things cost money. Do you know what I mean? Like,
everything costs money.
Everything costs money.
Dying costs a lot of money.
Like, my mum was talking about this. You literally get taxed when you fucking die.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
You get taxed on the inheritance. That's why I'm like, there's ways to avoid it legally that all people do. Well, not all people. Smart people do this. You can put money in certain places. You can, instead of taking an income, you can take a dividend. There's so many different ways that you can do this that if done correctly, it's totally legal. And if it's totally legal, you can also do it. But people don't do it because of the risk side.
Yeah, of course, because the more you get, the more things that you have to do.
True.
And sometimes people doesn't want that. They are not willing to do whatever it takes to get that, in the sense that you want to see it, in the sense that you want to understand it. It's up to you, and that's why also it's crazy and it's scary to think that everything is up to you, because everything is up to you.
It's scary, but also at the same time it's like, everything is up to me.
If you want to get something, it's up to you. If you want to get something, the work, you have to decide it.
Okay.
You cannot blame anyone for your setbacks, never.
Agreed. So let's close up. But before we close up,
yes.
Why do you think that you are like that? Because we've got very similar goals, in the sense that we want money to have, like, the goal, 3 houses around the world. We know where we want to have the houses.
Yeah.
We know what car we want at each house.
Yes.
And then on trips, we'll rent the supercars, and maybe the one in Italy will have a Lambo or something. Ferrari, I'm not fussed.
And I want my Jimny. I know that Jimny is the smallest thing that I'm going to have, because I'm going to have a lot, but I really want one.
But like, so you know all the things you want. You know the lifestyle you want to live.
Yeah.
You're very clear on that. Like, I've been clear on that for 10 years. Like, exactly the whole thing that we talk about, I've been thinking about this for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
I used to visualize it as a kid, like living in a house that I had like 50 cars. I remember I used to lay in bed thinking about it. What do you think gives you that mindset that you know, like, that you feel it's inevitable one day that you're going to have that?
I think it's the fact that you have to do it. And sometimes 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 you have to do it. And someti My family and everything that I experienced.
What do you
There's
mean?
no other. My family always taught me, and in their way and in their life and in their whatever, my grandma, for example, I know how she grew, and I know that she got everything that she got because she worked for it.
Mm-hmm.
And they always told me, everything that you want to get, you can get it.
Right.
Always. But I also saw it. And also the experience that we live as family show me that you can always change and you just have to keep going.
Mm-hmm. But specifically in the goals that you have,
Mm-hmm.
like all the stuff that you want to achieve, material, non-material,
Mm-hmm.
like relationship, family,
Mm-hmm.
and all of those things. Where do you get that from?
I really think that from my grandma and
Really?
my aunts,
What
because
did Tilly want a Lambo?
my grandma always my grandma something that I don't know what car did she wanted, but something
Lambo.
something that she always said was like, you can have the best things, you can eat the food that you want.
Right.
And she always gave me everything in her possibilities.
Interesting.
But it's just a mentality of, okay, you like.
You can have what you want.
Also, she spoiled me, so she gave me a lifestyle that I'm very grateful for.
Yeah.
And she was like, if I'm working so much to get this, you have to go even like.
Well, she was giving you the head start,
Uh-huh.
her head start.
Exactly.
The capability that she had to give you, you started off here, where she started off here. So it's like,
yeah. And in awful condition. Well,
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying that my life was very easy when I was little, but I think that it's also that I went through very dark, difficult times, that I was like, I can't wait for it to be my turn of being a grown up and do things my way.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. I like that, because it's that whole thing of for God knows how long, I always wanted a Lambo since I was like 6. Like that was I always wanted, and it will happen one day.
It will happen. It's not a coincidence either. That I always, if you ask my friends, always I've been saying, yeah, I want a yacht. And that was the
Yeah.
first thing that you said that you
Yeah,
want to.
yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Although I'm kind of more on private jet vibes now. I feel like it's more usable.
I don't know. I don't like helicopters and those things.
Private jet.
Yeah.
Because I hate flying normal.
I'm not a fan of flying, but
Because I generally feel like from this perspective, I would rather charter a yacht and own the jet than charter a jet and own the yacht. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll get a finance guy.
Well, the thing is that keep going. Yeah, we can have a lot of setbacks we are having in this moment, but
we're having loads. And
just
I like. Go ahead, Nova.
no, just stay tuned and see what happens. This is reality. We're not going to say that we are happy and grateful 24/7. We try and we're working, but things happen.
I'd say we are happy and grateful. I personally do feel happy and grateful every day. I also feel frustrated with all the things that happen. And it's that thing. It's like, when is it going to be my turn? Because I remember years ago laying in bed. I remember that exact house that I used to visualize, and I was like, I'm gonna have a motocross track here. I'm gonna have a skate park here. I was like 10. I'm gonna have a skate park here. No, maybe a bit older, maybe like 15. Because I remember I used visualization for motocross, and I actually started to get quite good at motocross, and then I broke my back and then nearly died. So that was sort of my limit. It was like, yeah, you should probably stop here. But I used to use visualization. And I've always used visualization, and it's in the back somewhere. It's in my subconscious somewhere that it just can't not happen. I just don't know how to explain
Now that
it.
you say that, just a quick comment. I remember that I was playing with my Polly Pocket Mansion, and I was always like, oh, a house like this, a pool like this. I'm going to have it. I'm going to have it. And I always watch movies, and I'm like, I want that house.
Well,
and sorry, babe.
No, you go.
No, and also, for example, I always want a relationship like this.
I got it. Well, because I was just gonna say that is when I look on my vision board, like for the amount of times that you told me you're not my type, like on my vision board it was the back of a girl's head, but it was black hair and tan skin. So that was like the exact thing. I also wanted to do ayahuasca. Did ayahuasca. I wanted to travel and live in the sun. Traveled and live in the sun.
You can get everything that you want.
Like
everything.
I earned my first over $50,000 online. Now this isn't in 1 year. Like total. This was over a period of time, but I did that. The only thing missing from all my vision boards, well, no, I have got the watches. They're just fake watches. And I did that for a good reason, because I was like, I just really like the watch, and I want to really feel like what it is like to wear it. And they look legit. I don't care that they're fake, personally.
Yeah.
I just really like the watch, and when I've got the money, I will, of course, have those. Is the watches, the cars, and just the consistent cash flow is the last piece of this puzzle that I've been creating. And like, soon we're going to be able to step back and go, fuck, look at what we created.
Yeah, for me it's the same, just having the constant cash and
constant cash flow, because I never used to have that ever,
and a lot of money to be able to also put the other part of my puzzle, that is family. I want babies, and I think that having that space of money, even though everyone says like there's never a right time, blah blah, but it would be amazing.
I would rather have the financial stability. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
But I would rather have the financial stability so that the kids don't have to experience any form of lack ever.
And you don't have that stress of how am I going to give
because
food, diapers.
Exactly. Because the real reality is, what a kid really needs is genuine love and attention. That is the real reality.
Yeah.
But what people don't understand is that they give off the money lacking vibes of like, we can't do this, and the kid becomes very
grows
lack.
Like that. Yeah.
They become lack. Even if we didn't have it, our kids would never become lack.
Yeah.
Because we like, I would be complete
that,
conscious that would never happen. And also, it would be the silly things of like doing affirmations with the kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like encouragement, like shit like that. But there you go. We're working together.
We're going there.
We're doing our shit.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you, babe. Episode 6. This is going to be a good one to come back to in the future, I think.
Yeah, setbacks and see what happens after this.
Yeah, because after a breakdown is a breakthrough. Everything you always wanted is coming. It just is a matter of doing what you need to do, figure out a way to get through. Eventually you'll get there, and before you know it, if you zoom out far enough, all those awful things that happened in your life, like we had that conversation, all the awful things that happened in your life,
we're here.
It got you here.
Yeah.
It made you who you are today. So we're gonna end before Katia explodes.
I'm melting. It's very hot.
This is a hot
very,
podcast
very
room. One day you're gonna see a different podcast studio once we move house and upgrade and do our shit. But
thanks for being here. Don't
wait
to it.
Hasta luego. Disfruta la fruta.
Sunday sessions.
Oh, it's Sunday sessions. Whoop, whoop.